What if I told you we might be getting closer to having like a gas station on the moon? Sounds crazy, right?
Well, it might not be as far off as you think.
That's exactly what we're diving into today. Intuitive Machines' IM2 mission, with their Athena lander headed for the lunar South Pole, on a hunt for a resource that could change everything, water ice.
This isn't Intuitive Machines' first lunar rodeo, though.
Right.
They already made history as the only private company to successfully soft land on the moon.
Okay, so rewind to last year, their IM1 mission with the lander Odie. Landed safely, but then took a bit of a tumble.
Think of it less as a tumble and more of like a dramatic lean.
Oh, okay.
Despite the unexpected tilt, the team still managed to gather a ton of valuable data.
Talk about making the best of a tricky situation. So they proved they could get to the moon.
Absolutely.
And now they're back with IM2.
Right.
Which is a whole new level of ambition.
Definitely. IM2 is a major step forward in terms of technology and scientific goals.
So let's get a visual. The Athena lander. Picture something about the size of a telephone booth, but with 6 legs instead of a door.
Yeah, and this telephone booth is aiming for Mons Mouton, a plateau near the lunar South Pole. This is the closest any mission has landed to the lunar South Pole, a region that scientists believe holds vast reserves of water ice.
And they're not taking the scenic route, they're using a fastball pitch trajectory.
Yeah, imagine throwing a baseball straight at a target. That's essentially what they're doing. Uses Earth's gravity to slingshot the lander toward the moon, saving time and fuel.
But requires incredibly precise calculations and navigation. Talk about aiming for the moon.
They're even dealing with a solar eclipse during the journey, meaning they'll have to rely on battery power while flying through the Earth's shadow.
Wow. Now let's talk about why everyone's so interested in the lunar South Pole. It all comes down to the possibility of finding water ice, which could be a game changer for future lunar missions.
Absolutely.
And even deeper space exploration.
Scientists believe that the lunar South Pole, with its permanently shadowed craters, could hold vast amounts of water ice.
Now you might be thinking, okay, water ice on the moon, that's cool, but why should I care?
Well, imagine this. You're on a lunar base, and the air you're breathing, the water you're drinking, it all came from lunar ice. We're not talking about some distant future. The technology to extract oxygen and hydrogen from water ice already exists.
It could even be used to create rocket fuel. Instead of hauling all our fuel from Earth, we could refuel on the moon.
Exactly. This could make space travel much more efficient and cost-effective, opening up possibilities for deeper space exploration. We could potentially have lunar outposts, research stations, even lunar tourism one day.
And this mission is a prime example of the growing commercial space industry. Private companies like Intuitive Machines are stepping up to the plate, demonstrating that they can play a vital role in space exploration.
Speaking of which, they've brought some seriously cool tech along for this ride. To find that water ice.
First up, we've got NASA's Prime 1 drill, which is going to be digging a meter deep into the lunar surface.
This drill isn't just digging a hole, it's designed to collect a core sample, giving us a detailed look at the composition of the lunar subsurface. Imagine the scientific insights we could gain from analyzing a sample like that.
Then there's the Micronova Hopper, nicknamed Grace. This little robot is a daredevil explorer. It's going to be leaping into a permanently shadowed crater, a likely spot for water ice.
Operating a robot in a permanently shadowed crater comes with its own unique challenges. Extreme cold, limited visibility, and the need for precise navigation all add to the complexity of this daring mission.
It's like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Don't forget the Lunar Outpost rover, a mobile lab on wheels. It even has a mini rover, Astroant, hitching a ride.
Plus, they'll be testing out 4G LTE technology on the moon.
It's not quite the same 4G LTE you're used to here on Earth.
Hold on, cellular networks on the moon.
They're testing a specially adapted system that could revolutionize lunar communications, enabling astronauts to video call back home from the moon.
Hold that thought, because there's even more to unpack. If you're finding this deep dive as fascinating as we are, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more incredible journeys into the world of space exploration. Now back to the moon.
And welcome back to our deep dive into Intuitive Machines' IM2 mission,
where we're talking about robots and drills and the hunt for lunar water ice. Now, we touched on this earlier, but let's delve a little deeper into why finding water ice on the moon is such a big deal.
It's not just about the scientific discovery, it's about the potential it unlocks for humanity's future in space.
Okay, so we know water ice can be used for things like breathable air and drinking water on a lunar base.
Yeah.
But how would that actually work?
The process involves extracting oxygen and hydrogen from the water ice. The technology already exists, we use it here on Earth, but the challenge is scaling it up to make it efficient and sustainable on the moon.
So it's not just about finding the ice, it's about developing the infrastructure to utilize it.
Exactly. And when you consider the vast distances involved in space travel, having a source of water ice on the moon could be a game changer. Think about it. Launching anything from Earth is incredibly expensive and resource intensive.
It's like packing for a camping trip, but you have to carry everything on your back for hundreds of thousands of miles.
A very heavy backpack indeed. But if we can utilize lunar water ice to create propellant for spacecraft, we could potentially refuel on the moon. This would dramatically reduce the cost and complexity of deep space missions.
It's like finding a cosmic oasis in the middle of a vast desert.
A very valuable oasis. And it's not just about fuel. We've talked about life support, breathable air, and drinking water for lunar settlements. But lunar water ice also has the potential to be a source of clean energy powering lunar bases and habitats.
So this mission isn't just about scientific exploration, it's also about laying the groundwork for a lunar economy.
Precisely. It's about creating a sustainable presence on the moon that benefits all of humanity.
Now let's get back to the mission itself. We talked about Athena's daring fastball pitch trajectory to the moon, which comes with its own set of challenges.
One of those challenges, as we mentioned earlier, is that solar eclipse they'll be flying through. For a period of time, they'll be relying solely on battery power.
They've timed everything meticulously, but it still requires a lot of trust in their calculations and technology.
And then there's the landing itself. Touching down on the lunar South Pole with all its craters and uneven terrain is a delicate operation.
But remember, this isn't Intuitive Machines' first rodeo. They've learned a lot from their experience with the OD landing.
Exactly. They've refined their landing procedures and narrowed their target zone to a 50-meter radius. That's incredibly precise when you consider the speed and distance involved.
It's like threading a needle from space.
A very high-stakes needle-threading exercise.
Okay, let's talk about those robots we mentioned earlier. We got a drill, a hopper, and a rover, each with a specific mission in the search for water ice.
The Prime 1 drill, provided by NASA, is designed to collect a core sample from up to a meter below the surface. This will give us a glimpse into the composition of the lunar subsurface and hopefully confirm the presence of water ice.
It's like a lunar geologist digging deep to uncover the moon's secrets.
And then there's the Micronova Hopper Grace. This little robot will be our daredevil explorer hopping into a permanently shadowed crater.
I can only imagine the images we'll get from inside a lunar crater that hasn't seen sunlight for billions of years.
It will be breathtaking. And the Lunar Outpost rover will be our mobile science lab mapping the terrain, conducting experiments, and relaying data back to Earth.
And let's not forget about those cellular networks. Testing out 4G LTE technology on the moon could revolutionize lunar communications.
It's a specially designed system adapted for the unique challenges of the lunar environment. Think lower power consumption, longer signal range, and the ability to handle extreme temperature fluctuations.
It's amazing to think how far we've come in space exploration. From the grainy images of the moon to robots hopping around craters and cellular networks connecting us across hundreds of thousands of miles.
And this is just the beginning. The discoveries we make on this mission could reshape our understanding of the moon and its potential to support human life beyond Earth.
This truly is a historic mission. So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from Intuitive Machines' impressive track record to the technology they're sending to the moon. But it all goes back to that one question. What does water ice on the moon actually mean for humanity's future?
It's a question that sparks the imagination. It pushes us to think beyond our current limits. What could we achieve if we had access to a resource like water ice on the moon?
It feels like we're on the verge of a whole new era of space exploration. And this mission is like a crucial step forward.
It's not just about returning to the moon, though. It's about building a sustainable presence there
Right.
and using lunar resources to push further into the cosmos.
Imagine lunar outposts powered by clean energy from water ice and serving as launch pads for missions to Mars and beyond. It sounds like science fiction.
But it's within the realm of possibility. If we can unlock the potential of lunar water ice, we could dramatically reduce the cost and complexity of deep space missions.
We've talked about lunar bases and research stations, but what about the scientific discoveries that could be made?
The moon is like a giant time capsule. It's preserving clues about the early solar system and the formation of planets. So studying lunar water ice could help us understand the origins of water on Earth, and maybe even shed light on the possibility of life elsewhere in the universe.
It's like having a massive unexplored laboratory right in our cosmic backyard.
And remember that cellular network experiment we discussed? That's just one example of the technological advancements that could come from lunar exploration.
Imagine high-speed communication between Earth and the Moon, enabling real-time data transfer, remote operation of robots, and even virtual tours for those of us who can't make the trip just yet.
And let's not forget the potential for international collaboration. This mission showcases the incredible things that can be achieved when government agencies, private companies, and researchers from around the globe work together.
It's a reminder that space exploration is like a shared human endeavor, one that transcends borders and unites us in our curiosity and ambition.
As we witness this incredible mission unfold, I encourage you to reflect on what a sustainable human presence on the moon means to you. What possibilities does it spark in your imagination?
Yeah, what discoveries would you like to see made? What role do you envision for yourself in this unfolding story of humanity's expansion into the cosmos?
We invite you to share your thoughts and excitement about this new lunar mission in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspectives and continue this conversation.
Because ultimately, this is a story about us. It's about humanity's journey of discovery, our shared desire to push the boundaries of what's possible, and our enduring fascination with the mysteries of the universe.
Who knows, maybe one day you'll be sipping water ice from a cup while gazing back at Earth from a lunar outpost. The future is full of potential, and missions like this are paving the way.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the exciting world of lunar exploration. We can't wait to see what intuitive machines and the quest for water ice on the moon will uncover next. Until then, keep looking up.